everybody.
Yay!
Hello, Justine.
Hello, Jennifer. Thank you so much for doing this with us today.
My pleasure. I'm so excited to be here and connect.
Yeah, this is cool. This is really special because you're actually in the I Am Code course, Intuitive Artist Mastery Code, that we're all in this together, creating our own art and oracle decks. And so this will be really cool to connect with you on a different side of everything. So thanks for being open to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you all, this is Jennifer McEuen. Did I pronounce that okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, cool.
Great work.
Awesome. Um, do you want to just give us like a little background on your life as a creative? And I'd also love to know how the spiritual connected into your art making process too. You want to start there?
Sure, yeah. Well, I've been making art my whole life, like many of us, and I really got seriously into it again when I was in high school and thinking about a specific career path. Um, and realizing that it was something that was possible and really honing in on my skills and finding that I really enjoyed going deep into the creative process with whatever was going on in my life. Like if there was really um, like tragic stuff going on, or I mean even happy stuff, it was just like a really nice place for me to go and process whatever I was going through. And I was like, wow, I could do this forever. I could do this my whole life. So it's just been this really incredible practice for me, and it has been a devotional practice as well, which is really beautiful how you share in your videos and in this whole process about the devotional aspect of it. And it's like I can relate to everything you say so much because it's exactly how it is. Um, and I mean, like, fusing the spiritual with the art is like, I mean, if you really get down to the bones of it, everything is spiritual because, I mean, I guess we're souls having a human experience. So everyone is spiritual, really. But being able to open up and use your intuition and your mind's eye and your imagination has all been quite active for me for most of my life. So just fusing that into my work by working with my imagination and um, visions is just a way that I like to translate my human experience. Um, and as far as like the story goes, I'm not being very linear right now, but that's okay because I don't think anyone here is totally linear.
No, you're in
um,
company. We're following. All good.
Yeah, so I mean, I got really into my practice when I was 18, and that's when I learned oil painting, and that changed my life. Um, when I started oil painting, it was like this surge of energy was flowing through my hands and my heart and my mind, and it was expanding me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, everything's possible." And it was just this high that I had to continue cultivating because it was like, wow, this is what I'm doing. I feel so alive, and everything is possible. So, I mean, art has been an incredible journey and it's taking me all over the world. I've experienced classical academia setting for learning art. And then I've also gone and studied with masterful artists in Europe that I have been very drawn to and inspired by, and in the process, just making my work and making a career out of it.
Mm.
So it's an all integrative process.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's so cool to hear about you going into other countries to study and make work. That's so cool. I've never done
Yeah,
that.
it's so
How did you
rich.
do that?
How did I do it?
Yeah.
Oh, Um, well, I guess I just felt the intuitive pull and the draw. I wanted to go overseas for a long time, and certain things came up where it just all the signs started telling me to go there, and I have really had amazing experiences working with amazing artists and learned from them. And listening to the intuitive pull. Uh,
Mhm.
the really cool thing about the whole Oracle deck experience and process is that I view my life like an Oracle deck, just from like the
Mhm.
subtleties of sounds and what I see around me and the animals and repetition of words from other people. And it's like this whole Oracle lifestyle experience. And so
Yeah.
I've just been fully immersed in it. And here I am now talking to you.
So you've started your deck.
Yes. Yes,
How is
I
that
finally
going?
started. It's really amazing. It's been very insightful. I'm
Mhm.
working on so many projects right now. I really have been making a point to put the time in each day to set my intentions and get it moving. But that meditation that you shared at the very beginning of
Mm.
the whole course was very profound for me, and
Mm.
the visions and the expression that I just felt flowing through was like this full circle type of experience. And
Mm.
now it's like, oh, I have all of these keys within me and I get to just pour them out of me and see what comes through. And I'm just transferring all of my sketch deck onto canvases. I shared some of it on the Facebook group of the process, and I'm excited to go into the actual painting part and see what comes through with those intentions and the visions that I've already been somewhat cultivating, but leaving it open. So we'll see.
Oh, that's so exciting. I'm
Yeah.
so curious about with the other art you make with your larger paintings. Do you have a practice, a daily practice or a ritual or anything you do in the beginning? Or could you tell us about like the day in the life of being Jennifer McEwen and making art?
Sure.
What is that like?
Yeah, well, it's constantly changing. I have a baby boy who is now 2.
Mhm.
So I am learning the great juggle of being a creatrix with a small child and my art. So a lot of my painting time comes when he is sleeping. But thankfully I've been getting more help and babysitting going on. So I definitely make a point to at least get into my painting an hour or more on the daily, um, depending on what open windows that I have. Whereas
Mhm.
before I had my son tied in, I would just sit at the easel for about 7 hours a day and just go for it. And I just wake up and enjoy the morning and have my coffee or my tea and focus on whatever project that I'm immersing my whole self into and just let it all happen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I can't imagine myself spending this much time doing anything else besides, just the daily life of being a human.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell us about, so you have a really awesome online store and presence on Instagram as well. And so which it's very impressive. And I would love if you could share any kind of inspiration for all of us other artists that are aspiring to sell our work. Like how did that come into form for you and how do you manage that?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I started working on commissions when I was about 18 years old. and I'm
Mm.
32 now. So I've been in the process of selling work and making commissions and all of that for a long time now. But just starting out, I mean, really putting the time into honing whatever it is you're really interested in, whether it's like the the oil painting or the acrylics. Like, what is it, the abstraction that is inspiring you? Is it yourself? Is like the human form inspiring you? What is the imagery that's really making you feel that motivation to want to go to the easel and make something?
Mhm.
And just putting that time into that, and it will blossom organically. Share it with everyone you know, share what you are inspired about and what you're working on. um, I think when other people see that you are actively putting your energy into something like that, it's intriguing and it's really attractive, and it's like, wow, what is that that's like giving them all of this life force, and they see this artifact of beauty that you're putting this time into, and they want some of that in their life. And so it's a one day at a time with the creative practice. um, if there's anything more specific too, I'm totally open and receptive to answering any of those questions. There's so much to it all. It's kind of like, where do I start, and
Mhm.
what subject am I going into?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking too, like, Instagram. Have you sold work right off of Instagram before?
Yes.
What's that like? How'd you do that?
Yeah, it's awesome. Instagram's so cool for the art, man. Um, Sometimes I sell pieces before they're actually complete. So I think sharing your process is really helpful. People like being involved in watching the progress of what you're doing. They feel
Mhm.
connected to it and a part of it. And they're like, wow, that looked like that at the beginning and now it's this. Like, that is pure magic.
Mhm.
um and so just sharing the process, sharing your product, letting people know that you're selling your work. um
How
I
do you
think,
do that in a way that doesn't sound like pushy or I don't know. Do you ever have any feelings about that?
yeah,
Yeah?
I know what you mean. Well, the
Okay.
thing is like, I love making art and I love selling art. So
Right.
it comes naturally. But I guess if you want to really make it non-salesy, like, this is for sale, you can just like, oh, I'm offering this to the public as like this special artifact of like what I'm creating. And if you're interested, feel free to send me a message. I think just communicating that you're offering it is a important aspect, because otherwise people don't know that you're selling your work if you're not
Mhm.
telling them.
Mhm. And do
Some
you go ahead. Go
Oh, I
ahead.
was gonna say, and then sometimes if someone just absolutely loves what you're working on, they'll just go ahead and send you a private message and say, "Oh, are you selling this?" So it's I think the main thing is consistency, and consistently sharing that you are making art and you are an artist and this is what you do. And that's just naturally going to attract art lovers and people that want to see your work, because
Mhm.
people do want to see your work. And especially now, people are spending more time in their homes and they want to have inspirational imagery around them and colorful, mystical things. And even if it's not colorful or mystical, it's interesting. Creating art is such an act of love. Just having that in your own space is such a sacred thing. So just knowing that whatever you are inspired to create, that is sacred and someone is going to love it
Mm.
because it's coming through
Yes.
you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well said. I love that. Um, and you've also made clothing, which is so cool. How did you do that? Do you work with another company and send them your designs, or how did you get your art on clothes?
Oh man, there's different brands that I've worked with, and just over the years, I've met different artists that have created clothing, and I've met the clothing makers, and I've kind of seen that whole world behind the scenes, and it's really cool. And there are so many different brands out there that you can collaborate with. If you see something you like, send them a message. Let them know that you're interested. I mean, it really can be as simple as just reaching out and saying, "Let's collaborate." And if they say no, that's okay. There's always someone else because there's hundreds of different brands out there.
Mhm.
And I work with different companies. It's a fun way to share the work where people just they have variety that they can choose from. If someone doesn't want to buy a large painting for their home, they can wear your work as a scarf or a bandana or a pin. Or I mean, there's so many different ways to share the work and sell the work. It really just
Mhm.
depends on what you're interested in because it's all there.
That's really, really cool. So, do you with your prints too, clothing and
Oh yeah.
prints, like things like this. So, um and originals. Can you talk about like what do you tend to sell more of, or feel most excited about selling? And when do you get a batch of prints made, or is it print on demand?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's both. For some images, I will just do the print on demand. Um, it just kind of leaves it open, and you don't have to spend a ton of money on a bunch of prints that you're not sure if you're going to sell. So if you just have the option and a printer that you are directly in contact with and you get work from, if someone buys something, you can just go ahead and order it, and it's a quick process. Or if you prefer, if there is a specific image that people are really interested in and asking for, get a batch. Do limited edition. Limited edition is really wonderful because it creates more value for the work, and it's more urgent because it's like, oh, this isn't always going to be available. So depending on what piece, that seems to be of large interest to your audience, that can give you some hints on whether to get a large batch or do the print on demand.
Hmm.
Um, I love selling prints. I most love selling originals. That's like such an epic thing. I've heard from great artists that you shouldn't sell your originals, but I don't know. I love releasing them into the world and knowing that direct energy is blessing someone's life. And then I make more art.
Yeah. Why do people say not to sell your originals? I've never heard that.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard of Ernst Fuchs. He
Yeah.
is a legendary art celeb in Austria. He passed away just a few years ago. He directly worked with artists like Amanda Sage and Robert Venosa and Philip Rubinoff Jacobson, which have been some really amazing inspirations and uh, teachers in my life throughout time. And Philip Rubinoff Jacobson, who's been an amazing teacher for me over the years, said that Ernst told him to not sell his originals. And now Ernst has a museum. So that's just one aspect. If you want to have a museum someday, maybe don't sell your originals. But, who knows? I like
Hmm.
being a living artist selling my work. So,
So do I.
yeah, I think it depends on your long range goals too.
Yeah. I did. There are some that I am holding on to, with a larger vision in mind. But I am willing to sell them at a certain price. it would be willing with
Mhm.
the um, agreement that I could use them for a show later on and, like bring it back into the exhibition and then give it back to the collector.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really smart. And you should definitely sell your work for what you want for it, and don't go less. I've done that in my past as like a younger gypsy artist, just
Mhm.
trying to get by, and I'll sell that painting for $400 instead of 1,000. Sure, okay, because you just gotta eat. But and
Yeah.
that's just a part of the art process and the journey, and educating yourself and what works for you and what doesn't. And at the time it worked out, and now that doesn't work for me. So
Mhm.
you grow and you mature into your work and what you're doing. It all
Absolutely.
takes time.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd love to know how you feel about this current paradigm shift we're in. Like everything is shifting. And I think about like the new earth and this, being visionary, intuitive, spiritually based artists. For you, do you have a vision or goal that you are communicating through your work or your
Mhm.
way of being or life or just any thoughts you have on this shift we're in right now as artists?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think being an artist is incredibly profound and important right now. I personally feel like I've been preparing my whole life for this time. Um, and staying in the inspiration. There's so much going on that can really put us into this really fearful, scared, close-minded space that is dense and uh, not a space that you can really feel productive in. Um, so I think really giving yourself that place of knowing that what you do really matters, everything that you're doing really matters. You are so powerful, and you are not powerless. um and I think something that I'm also really working to convey in my artwork is that um you yourself, you are the oracle, you are the channel, you are the divine, and there's so many things that program you to think that you are small. From I mean, I don't need to get too deep into it right now, but there are certain belief systems and things that make you smaller than you are. And if you can just see yourself as powerful and divine, and that everything you do matters, um, it's easy to focus on just what your hands are doing and your intentions. I want to see the world thriving. I want to see people empowered. I want to see people making art and treating this whole experience as sacred, because it is. It's not hopeless. It's not just
Mhm.
trash and doomed. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think just staying in the inspiration is one of the most important aspects, and that's going to lead you and guide you into the next space that you need to be in, and it's completely unique to the individual.
Mhm. Beautiful. Yes, well said. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. What about you? How do you feel with everything going on and your role as an artist and how you feel personally?
Hmm. Thanks.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I feel that mm, I'm communicating through my work kind of on a subconscious level to activate a I guess through like through magical landscapes and concepts
Hmm.
that we can be the designers of our reality, you know, similar to what you're saying. Like there is hope that it's still malleable. What we have in front of us isn't set in stone, that everything is ever changing, and we need to continue to be in that um, designer's driver's seat of our lives and our reality, and be active participants in that creative process, because every aspect of our life is calling on us to be actively creating it. And when we sit in the back seat, oh, that's all just happening, like sitting back, we're programmed to be like that, like watch the news, oh, that's our president, oh, that's the way the government is set, oh, we all have to use money and that's just the way it is, oh, that sucks. Well, what if you could reimagine like everything completely different in the
Mhm.
way you want it, and be an active participant in sharing those ideas, like with every person you have a conversation with,
Yeah.
like planting little seeds. So try to infuse that in my art,
Yes,
you
seeds of
know?
light and hope.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you. And you too. And you
Aw,
too.
thanks.
And I'm glad we're connected, and we're all doing this with each other, and
Mm.
helping to inspire each other. And I feel like the more people that can feel this and see this light, and do this in their own lives, or be inspired that you can make a living from your most passionate, like sacred art that you want to make, you
Yeah.
can do this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like, you don't wanna just, like, give all your money to corporations. I mean, you
No.
wanna give it to creators, to artisans, to artists, to, people that are, like, working with their hands. I mean, things that are made with human hands are so much more beautiful to me, personally. I mean, I also digital art has its place and I respect it completely. I'd love to get a tablet and like learn how to do that stuff, but I
Mhm.
love seeing handmade things.
Me
I think
too.
it's miraculous.
Yes. Oh, totally.
Mm.
Oh, well, I would love now to open it up to anyone that has any questions, or would like to ask you any questions. Anyone, feel
Awesome.
free to unmute yourself and jump in.
Right on. Well,
um,
um,
you do have a gift. You're so generous to
oh yeah,
um,
um,
offer. Do you want to go into
anyone,
that?
yeah, anyone that's hanging out and receiving the information and interested, I have a limited edition copper plated enamel pin and it says awake. It's,
Oh,
let's see, let
so
me kind of, it's a little
cool.
blasted with light. It's really cool. You can wear it on your head, on your jacket, on your purse, your backpack. This one is number 91. Let's see.
Oh, they're
Yep.
limited.
Yes, there's only 100 of them. So
Very cool.
yes, and her eyes open and she's she's awesome.
Wow.
So yeah, that is my gift to you, to anyone that is interested. You can just go to my shop and put in the code awakening 2020, all caps, and you will get a free pin.
Amazing. I'm going to type that in. And your website could you say what your handles are, all your social stuff for
Sure,
me,
yeah.
please?
Yes, my website is jennifermceuenart.com and my Instagram is jennifer.mceuen.art. McEwen is spelled Mceuen. Um, and my Facebook is Jennifer McEwen, the art of Jennifer McEwen. You can find me on there, and I am present on the webs, man. So
Awesome.
yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Um,
Very
so those
cool.
are the socials.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I don't know if we have any questions, but you have shared so much with us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's been awesome, and I'm so happy to connect with you and be a part of this course and the whole sharing experience of it. I think we're like at 30 minutes right now. Is it all right if we keep going? Because there are some things that I want to talk to you
Oh,
about.
really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want
Okay.
it to be recorded?
Sure.
Do you want it to be part of that, or do you want it off the record? Whatever you want, whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, it's also like something we can share about.
Sure.
I guess it's all like connected. I
Yeah,
have
okay.
a
Keep going.
yeah, why not? We're here, we're talking about art. This is what we're working on. I have a painting series called the Rainbow Warriors that I
You
started.
do?
Yeah,
Did we
that
talk about that?
I don't think so, but I've had like all the stuff that I want to talk to you about and I'm
Oh
like
my gosh.
finding the time is the thing for me these days. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I started it in 2011, um, and
Interesting.
finished it in 2018. And they're like chakra portraits. It was a body of work that I was putting time into while I was working on a bunch of other paintings. So it had this slow and steady progress. And you have this oracle deck called the Rainbow Warriors. And I'm just like, wow, that is so cool. The language you're using, I totally resonate with, from the devotional aspect of it. I had a solo art show called Devotion.
You
Um,
did?
yeah, back
Oh
in
my gosh.
2018 in South Lake Tahoe at the Banco Art Gallery.
What?
And yeah, these are all details I think are relevant to the whole conversation because it's a part of the career, it's part of the devotional art
Yeah.
path, it's a part of the connection, a part of connecting to you. And um yeah, so it's just like, wow, that's really interesting and awesome. So
Yeah. What talk about synchronicities?
Mhm.
Wow, I didn't know that. We are totally meant to connect. I love that. Do you have pictures of that series?
Yes, I do. I have a picture of me sitting with all of them and all of the pieces as well. They're on my social feeds. I can also send
Okay.
it to you directly so you can just see it and have it and be like, "Oh, wow, Rainbow Warriors is the series and that's my deck."
Wow, so fascinating. Oh, that is like it came through in a meditation, in like a journey, a real journey.
Mhm.
Um, and it was like I came from this like rainbow planet kind of place.
Oh.
And there's like this group of beings, this is what I saw, that came to earth to that carry the rainbow light like frequencies, or that are consciously activating all the chakras and living through this rainbow experience, like fully activated experience. And that we are holding also the archetypal energy of the warrior, um, to help activate others, and to connect with and bond with the other, um, like family of rainbow warriors that came here at the same time, that are here now to help aid in this shift.
Mhm.
And and so I didn't, when I made my original handmade oracle deck, I didn't have a name for it, but it came through like years later, like, oh, from this vision, like these cards are here to help activate this frequency in others as
Mhm.
well. So yeah, that's kind of where that came from. I've
Wow,
never
that's
talked about
so
that publicly.
really?
No.
Well, that's awesome. See, this
Yeah.
is a perfect place for it.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Wow. So when did you get that download? What year?
It was right before I opened up my tattoo studio, Earth Altar Studio. That was in, so it was like June of 2016.
Oh, wow. Huh. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think I started the deck about a year before. Okay, so it came through a year after.
Wow.
Yeah. So you started it came through to you in 2011.
Yeah, it came through as like a vision idea. And I was like, oh, chakra portraits, like a portrait series of people that I'm inspired by that I feel embody these chakras
Wow.
that are like warriors of the earth that are here to like raise the vibration and share their work and warriors of the rainbow. and
Yeah.
and then I really started working on it in 2012, like January, and and met some of the the people along the way as I was working on it and was like, "Oh, you're the sacral chakra, you're the throat chakra." And it all
Mm.
just worked out. I mean, it's such a interesting encapsulation of my almost like of my 20s and my journey and teachers, people that I've been inspired by and worked with. So yeah.
Wow, interesting. Very, very cool. That's so cool.
Yeah,
So
right?
connected.
So,
Mhm.
love that. It's such an honor to hear about the process that you have and to be able to find other people that are doing a similar resonant thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We all need to do, I have this vision for us all doing these like installation type massive art exhibitions together, like a museum, like you were saying earlier, of all of our work and our oracle cards, like all displayed or us working with them, and all just like a whole place where we get to showcase our this spiritual art together. And like it will all be, it would be so magical, wouldn't it?
Yeah, right? Do you have a venue that you've been thinking about would be perfect?
I was thinking, I've seen, I kind of imagine it like a pop up thing, almost like at a festival
Mhm.
or something, where it can go around the world. Like it's alive and it's moving and it's organic, and it can be something that isn't like just in one place.
Yeah, like a
Um,
traveling show.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that would be so
Do
cool.
you do you know about Hebrew Brantley's Nevermore? Do you know
Um,
him? He's a
no.
graphic artist and he created this installation, whole area installation. He created it in Chicago and he created it to be mobile, but it did so well in Chicago. I don't know that it ever moved. And then COVID happened. It was supposed to just
Oh,
be here for a month. But what he did was essentially he created a whole space that looked like the inside of his mind. And so like where all of his ideas came from, and like it was in his first studio that he had in Chicago. And it was just like such a cool place to be completely, you go to an art gallery so many times and they're kind of sterile, right? You look at
yeah.
the art, but everything else is kind of sterile. So
Mhm.
what he did was he created an art gallery right when you walked in, and then you went through this like passage hallway that looked like sort of the Chicago L tunnels, but he covered all of the walls in newspaper, like crumpled up newspaper and kind of stuff. And you walked into this newsstand, and then past the newsstand was just like all of these areas. Like he let his inner child just totally have free reign and created all these different areas to experience different parts of his art. Um, and I love that idea of like actually getting inside the artist's mind as opposed to just seeing the finished product, like really getting inside their mind and exploring what art is really about. So if you could do that with art and then bring in the spiritual aspect, like most people
Mm.
wouldn't even be able to handle it.
I know. I know. That'd be
Cool.
so cool. Could you write? Oh, you did. Oh, Diana knows.
I th-
That's so cool.
I think Diana put it there because we're both from Chicago, so
Oh,
I think she
gotcha.
put it in there.
Awesome.
Cool, cool. When I was fresh out of art school, my friends and I put together this, it was an artist collective. We called it the Upper 600s. And we would do these extraordinarily detailed um, exhibitions that were full sensory experiential installation things, like sounds like what you're talking about. And each show would have a different theme, and we would make sure that all of the senses were activated, and you were going into like different worlds. We do it in like in backyards of houses we were renting, or one time we rented a big warehouse place and we got to use this space for like 6 months. A friend's father owned this place, so got to we got free access to all of these spaces and would transform them. It was so cool. It was, like we didn't have anything else to do really back in the day. So it was like all we poured our heart and soul into. But we did it for about $3,000. We'd all like put in whatever we could, whenever we could, and then sell a ticket at the door. To get the money back. We didn't make any profit ever, but it was so cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was cool.
Do you have pictures of it?
Yeah, if you probably Google the Upper 600s, there may still be stuff online. There may be an old website. I'm not sure. There might be some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be so, like I'm doing this interview series because I want to connect more, like bring all of these incredible connections we have on Instagram
Mhm.
and digitally, and make it more feel like we're not really like alone, and we can connect with each other on a deeper level through the
Mhm.
screen even,
Yeah, it's nice. I think it's a great thing. It's
Mhm.
good for people to hear what someone is working on. It's good to know that we have this shared positive vision for what we're all doing right now. It's healthy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything like super exciting or that you're really passionate about working on right now?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, man. I love this point in time in my life because it's filled with everything that I love from my work and how I've designed my life up to this point, and being able to be totally present with my son and my man, um and it's like I get to be with them, and then I get to immerse myself in my projects, and I'm working on these really cool commissions for a few individuals, from a portrait to a more ethereal portrait that's kind of reminiscent of a past work I did called Eris,
Mm.
which is really cool. I'll share it in the group
Okay.
so you can see what I'm talking about. It's kind of a more ethereal, shamanic type of approach to painting. And
Mm.
that's like a whole other subject too, is talking about different approaches to work, from, the more classical planning something out and drawing it, and then also just throwing acrylics down and finding shapes and forms and rendering those out. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless. I think that's another part of why art is so magical, because it's so free. You
Yeah.
can be so free. You can do whatever you want.
I know, it's like the one place that you can do that in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, and it's like of your creation.
Mhm.
So the commissions are so much fun. This Oracle deck project, when I get the time, and I'm so stoked on it every time I get those windows to meditate on it and really listen to what it wants to say. It's been really powerful, um, because I imagine, wow, this is an aspect that brought me to this point. So if I can share it and somehow render it into a vision that can speak to another in this way, this is sacred work. I love it. And the way that you create this template for it and everything is super helpful, because I also have another Oracle deck, slightly on the back burner, that I'm working on, and it's helping me understand how to approach it more thoroughly and
Mm,
organize it all. So
good. That's good to
yeah,
hear. I'm so
yeah,
glad.
yeah. It's very helpful. I love it. It makes me so excited about all the future projects. So I mean, I'm
Good.
definitely loving all of the things that I'm working on. Commissions are fun, especially when the client gives you freedom and they're like, I kind of like this piece, something like that. And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great way to get your work going and helps pay the bills. I also do some online teaching, one-on-one.
I was going to ask you about that. Tell us more about that. One on
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely like really catered to the individual, because
Okay.
people are seeking different information. A more common lesson that I've been doing with probably like 7 people now is visual meditation called the Rainbow Energy Body Meditation.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, and there it's like a multifaceted lesson where the individual learns how to handle oil paints. You can also do it with acrylics if you would rather work with that medium, and learn how to uh, paint with your intuition, understand organic symmetry, and meditate on your chakras.
Oh,
And you're,
awesome.
yeah, right, and you're creating something tangible that's a very abstract concept.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really fun. And then sometimes individuals are like, oh, will you teach me how to paint a portrait? Or will you teach me how to paint this lion? And then I'll just go in there and share all of my knowledge.
Are you doing it digitally?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Wow.
Zoom and Skype.
Very cool. And how are you promoting that?
I promoted it on my Instagram a few months ago, and on my Facebook. Those have been really effective tools, just getting the word out with anything. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how I found my students.
Very cool.
Yeah,
So neat. That's like
thanks.
it's just such a gift to be alive right now and have that at our fingertips, isn't it? Like
Yeah, it's like,
truly,
wow,
yeah.
it's so easy. And
Mm-hmm.
it makes me happy that I can serve in this way.
So cool. So cool. Um, yeah, I don't know. Does anyone have any questions that are popping up at this point?
I'm open.
Or is there anything else you want to talk about, Jennifer, or share?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to it all. I can go into so many different things. Mm, well, I guess if I could go into just like a specific work, um, just like going into your own painting, give it give it its space and give it its time, but show up to it as often as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have a painting and you just kind of leave it, which I do sometimes, but I always have at least 2 or 3 or 4 pieces that I am working on until they're completed. Um, you definitely want to give them the energy, kind of like the oracle cards. You got to commit
Mm-hmm.
and see it to its finish, and that's going to inform the next piece that you're going to work on. And it's okay if you don't just do one thing. You know, you don't have to just paint portraits, you don't have to just paint abstracts. um, Personally, I do so many different subject matters, from uh, the mandalas, which I've been doing a lot recently, to the more classical, figurative, kind of mystical stuff. they all have their own purpose. Um, Sometimes it's just so soothing and freeing to just go into a mandala and make it up and create this ripple of shape and form and color, and you trance out, and
Yeah.
you also have downloads and insights when you're in that process. I find that when I'm in the actual creative space and I'm actively working, I get so much more clarity and insight. um that's another aspect of why I love painting so much, is because I can reflect on my life in a different kind of way than if I'm just sitting there looking. And I love writing. That's a huge part of my life, and creativity.
That's
But
a
yeah.
really good point.
Mhm.
It's like once you're actually, you can, if you can actually get yourself to get in the flow of making and open, that's what opens the portal up and helps to like sort out the junk in the mind, and then to like let the downloads like really come in. That's been my experience too.
Yeah, it's like such
Mhm.
a process of awakening when you are making the art.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, that's some juice,
Yeah, that's
some
some juice. Yeah, well said. Well, thank you. I know we're coming up on the end, and I just want to like send you so much gratitude because this has been so inspiring and helpful. Um, yeah, Katika says thank you so much.
Oh,
Um,
yay.
yeah, thank you. Seriously, just knowing like and seeing and connecting with you that you're doing it, you're selling your work, you're using these platforms, you're connecting to the source, and you're staying consistent and dedicated to the making process, and you have a baby boy and a man, like you've got a full life. Like that's so inspiring.
Aw,
So
thank
thanks.
you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, it's a complete honor and pleasure, and thank you for inviting me onto this interview. It's amazing to be able to share and connect and give space,
Yeah,
give space to ponder about the creative life. There's so much to it.
absolutely. Seriously, yes. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you,
Mwah.
Justine. Much love.
Much love.
See you
Be
soon.
sure. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Be sure to go check out her work and the amazing, generous gift she has for you. Remember, the code is Awakening 2020 at jennifermceuenart.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll see
Thank
you
you.
soon.
Much love. Have a
Much
great
love.
evening.
You too. Bye.